Did you know that over 35% of premature diesel engine failures are linked directly to RPM mistakes? That's right, not bad fuel, not skipped oil changes, but simply the way drivers use their revolutions. Fleet maintenance reports in the US show that poor RPM habits are one of the leading reasons truckers face early turbo and engine replacements. Diesel engines are built tough, but they're also designed to run in a very specific RPM range. And the moment you step outside of it, you're cutting years off your engine's life. In this video, we are going to break down the 7 most common RPM mistakes that quietly damage diesel vehicles and cost you thousands in repairs. And stick around, because mistake number 3 is something almost every diesel driver does daily without even realizing it. Let's dive in. Mistake number 7, revving too high before shifting. One of the biggest killers of diesel engines is constantly revving them to the red line before shifting gears. Unlike gasoline engines, diesels are built for low-end torque, not high-rev horsepower. Pushing the RPM needle too high puts unnecessary strain on the connecting rods, pistons, and turbocharger, creating extreme heat and pressure. Over time, this can cause premature wear on the valve train and even lead to head gasket failures. Smart diesel driving means shifting earlier, usually around 2,000 to 225 RPMs, where the engine produces peak torque efficiently. If you make a habit of keeping your diesel at high revolutions, you'll not only burn more fuel, but also shorten the life of your engine by tens of thousands of miles. Mistake number 6, lugging the engine at low RPM. If revving too high is bad, then running too low is equally destructive. This problem, known as lugging, which happens when you stay in a high gear while the RPMs fall below about 1/12. In that state, the engine is forced to work much harder than it was designed to. Think of it like trying to pedal a bicycle uphill in the highest gear. It's exhausting and unnatural. That's what lugging does to a diesel. It builds excessive cylinder pressure, which stresses the pistons, bearings, and even the transmission. Over time, it also leads to carbon buildup in the combustion chamber and makes your engine dirtier, rougher, and less efficient. That's why many mechanics also call it death lugging. Here is the RPM golden rule. Don't let your RPM drop too low under load. If your diesel feels like it's struggling, downshift immediately and let it rev higher. Mistake number 5, ignoring the turbo cooldown at high RPMs. Here's a mistake that destroys turbos faster than almost anything else. Shutting off your diesel right after driving it hard. Picture this. You've been towing, hauling, or running at highway speeds, and your turbo is spinning at over 100,000 RPMs. The moment you switch off the ignition, you cut off oil flow to that turbo and leaves it cooking hot with no lubrication. That's a recipe for burnt bearings, oil coking, and premature turbo failure. Did you know countless VW TDI and Ford Powerstroke owners have lost turbos before 150,000 miles simply because they shut the engine off after highway runs? In contrast, long-haul truckers who idle their rigs for 2 to 3 minutes after a climb often see turbos last 500,000 miles. Once a turbo starts coking, it loses balance and bearings, eventually sending shrapnel into the intake. That can destroy an engine in seconds. The smarter habit is simple but powerful. Let your diesel idle for 1 to 2 minutes after heavy driving. This allows the turbo to slow down naturally and for oil to circulate and cool the system. Mistake number 4, skipping proper warm-up before high RPMs. This one kills engines in cold weather. Revving a diesel hard when it's cold is asking for trouble. Cold oil is thick like molasses and doesn't flow fast enough to protect bearings, cam lobes, or the turbo. Revving high in those first few minutes means you're grinding metal on metal, causing microscopic wear that adds up fast. It also shocks the turbocharger, which depends on steady oil pressure to survive. Duramax owners in northern states often report blown turbos under 100,000 miles simply because they floored it right after starting in winter. Here's the golden rule. Always let your diesel idle for 30 to 60 seconds, then drive gently until the temp gauge reaches normal before using high RPMs. Mistake number 3, holding high RPMs under heavy load for too long. Diesels are designed to pull heavy loads, but that doesn't mean you should sit at high RPMs while towing or climbing hills for extended periods. Holding your engine at 3,000 RPM while hauling a trailer up a long incline generates dangerous exhaust gas temperatures. Push it too far, and those EGTs can actually melt pistons, warp cylinder heads, and crack exhaust manifolds. Eventually, something breaks down. The smarter move is to monitor your gauges, shift earlier, and let the torque do the work. Diesels are muscle machines, not race cars, and they perform best when you let them pull steady rather than scream. By respecting your RPMs under load, you'll not only save your engine, but also your wallet from catastrophic repair bills. Mistake number 2, ignoring downshift timing on descents. When going downhill, some diesel drivers rely too much on the brakes instead of downshifting. Staying in too high a gear keeps the RPMs low, which means you lose out on engine braking. As a result, your brake pads and rotors overheat, fade, and wear out much faster. Worse, the transmission takes extra stress because it's not in the proper power band. By downshifting to let the engine spin at a safe, controlled RPM, usually around 2000, you engage compression braking. This keeps your descent smooth, saves your brakes, and prevents dangerous overheating. Truckers have known this trick for decades, and it's the reason their diesels survive long mountain hauls. Mistake number 1, riding the clutch at high RPMs. Many diesel drivers, especially those new to manual transmissions, make the mistake of holding the clutch halfway while revving the engine. This creates unnecessary friction between the clutch plate and flywheel, which not only wears out the clutch faster, but also puts strain on the gearbox. Diesels produce massive torque even at low RPMs, so slipping the clutch while revving just cooks the components. Over time, this leads to clutch glazing, overheating, and expensive replacement jobs. Here is the golden rule. Engage the clutch fully or release it completely. Never hover in between while revving. Respect your clutch and it'll last for years instead of burning out prematurely. So there you have it. Diesels aren't like gas engines. They're built for low-end torque, efficiency, and longevity. Respecting RPM rules makes your diesel engine last over 700,000 miles or more. If this video saved you from making one of these mistakes, give it a like and subscribe for more diesel tips. See you in the next video.